What is going on, everybody? It is Friday, January the 28th, and that means it's time for my News Radar. It has been an absolutely crazy, monumental week for the Surface Duo community. And it is because of that this episode of News Radar is going to be a little bit different. So typically what I do here is I'll talk about 2, 3, 4 different tech news stories, kind of bring you the news, and then tell you what I think about those particular news stories. Well, today, what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to basically recap the last week worth of crazy Duo news, and then I'm going to kind of bring you up to speed more long term now that a few days have gone by, and kind of tell you where I think we are with both of these devices that a lot of you care so much about. And there's a lot of polls I've done, there's voting, there's comments, there's my experience, there's a lot of stuff to cover here. So let's just get right into it. But I do want to start things off by reiterating something that I put on Twitter. Just the other day, I said, this is probably the most positive momentum Microsoft has had with Surface Duo since its announcement. Duo just got a ton better, and Duo 2 just got a third substantial feature update so quickly after launch. What a time to be alive. And I mean, honestly, if you jump back maybe to just when Duo 2 came out, right? Duo was sitting there, no proper updates for 6 months or something crazy like that. Duo 2 comes out, and a lot of reviews are really negative, way more negative than mine was, but a lot of reviews are negative. Things looked really, really bleak and really, really grim for Surface Duo in general. Jump ahead to now, though. Duo does have Android 11 finally. And look, I know. I've seen people say this. Android 11, Android 12 is out now. I get it, okay? I get that it's still way behind. But this is still massive progress, okay? This is something. This is a really big update. We're going to dive deep into how you guys feel about Android 11 on the original Duo, as well as my thoughts here very, very shortly. But you cannot deny that this is a substantial update. And then with Duo 2, I think Duo 2 is in a phenomenally good state right now. So this is some crazy good news for Duo fans. For those of us that don't want to see dual screen phones die a premature and untimely death. And let's talk about that Android 11 update for Surface Duo. And if you missed my quick breakdown video of this update where I demonstrate some of what we're talking about, I will have links to all of these sorts of things down in the description underneath that handy dandy like button. But we're going to go over it again here for those that did miss it. Android 11, here is our changelog, and some of these are pretty important stuff. So first off, updates the operating system to Android 11. Well, that puts us on par with a lot of phones. Now, like I said, Android 12 is out on some devices, but most devices are still running Android 11 at this point. So it puts Duo in a place where it's much more competitive, okay? Great. And there's a lot of features with Android 11 that came along as well, like a screen recorder, like better permission control, so forth and so on. A lot of good stuff there for Android 11 just by itself. We have a security bulletin, so now we're back to being secure again, and they've done a good job of keeping the monthly security patches generally coming. Google actually missed a month with the Pixel. Well, Duo is continuing to roll right along with security updates. But then new Duo features, so enabling launching OneNote, basically some cool pin stuff. So your pin, your Slim Pin 2 can click and open up OneNote. Now, they don't have the same features as Duo 2. They can do a click, a double click, or a long click to open 3 different apps. But at any rate, you can now click your pin and open up OneNote. Now, some people have said, hey, what about clicking it to turn your flashlight or to control the camera? And that would be cool, but that's unfortunately not a thing we've got as of yet on either device. How about the ability to answer a phone call by opening your device into phone mode when it's ringing to answer a phone call and then close it back to hang up? That's also quite nice. Auto spanning apps. Right? So some apps, whenever you launch them, you can set them to automatically span across both screens. And one of the most obvious places where Microsoft does this with their device is in the camera app. So you launch the camera app and it spans. So you have your camera and then your recently taken photos there on the other side. Well, now Duo can do the same thing if that is what you want it to do. Although the use case for that is not as strong because the camera is facing you. I guess it's good if you want to take a bunch of selfies, but whatever. The good news is you can set any app to do this. So certain apps like Outlook, they support spanning quite well. So if you always find yourself spanning Outlook, you can set it and you can do that. Notification, shade, and quick settings look better. You can change your volume directly in that quick settings. And then just a whole bunch of refreshed appearances in the launcher, some rounded corners and things like that have slowly rolled out as well. Game Pass app is now built in. The OneDrive app now does have the photo editor, which is quite nice to have as well. Overall, it's a pretty darn big update. And if we talk about how have people felt about this Android 11 update, I think it's more positive than I expected it to be, because I made a video a while back saying that after so long waiting on Android 11 to roll out, I said there's no way that it can live up to expectations, because it's been built up and anticipated for so long that when this thing launches, people are going to go, oh, that's it? Who cares? Well, I asked you guys, who cares? And 416 votes at point of this screenshot, 42% of you said it had lived up to your expectations. Now, I don't know if it's because you guys are just smarter than I gave you credit for being, and you kept your expectations tempered and lower. Maybe that's what it is, but that's a fairly positive result. And many of you are citing a general smoothness and a reduction in bugs. Let's go through some of these. The Vegan Athlete says, so far I'm pleased. Duo 1 looks great and is running smoothly. Livio says, I feel it runs more smoothly. The window transition effects are slightly more noticeable, even at the minor value. So smoothness when going between applications. Ghost Ship Inc. said they just upgraded about 3 hours ago. Surprisingly, haven't encountered any bugs yet. They call it a stunning development. Truly shocked. Every single bug and annoyance has just vanished for them so far. Sandra Payne says it definitely seems to work much more consistently and smoother after the Android 11 update. And this is something that I can at least partially echo. So I am seeing less bugs. It does definitely seem smoother. Now, I can't tell you that I'm quite as high on touch response as other people have been. I think it is definitely improved, but do I think that it is on the same level as where Duo 2 is now, or do I think that it is on the same level as a normal phone? No, I don't. I still am having the occasional missed swipe or missed tap while I'm trying to do things. Typing, it's better. Gestures, touch, it is better, but it's still not as good as it should be. And I've also noticed that when I've been using it, the black screen bug, that I get all the time in the past, the primary reason why I stopped using this device, where basically I would be using it and one screen would shut off like this when it was, fully in book mode. Annoying as all get out. That has pretty much stopped. When I say pretty much stopped, I should actually correct myself. I've not seen it one single time since the Android 11 update. And that is mind-boggling to me because, again, I saw it constantly, beginning with an update, I think about 6 months into Duo's life cycle. They tweaked something about something, and my phone went crazy after that update. And that seems, for me, to be addressed. And let's talk a bit more about touch response, because a few people said before the update, touch sensitivity was crap. This is Luck, David. Always had to touch twice after not having touch the screen for more than a few seconds. Now it's fixed. Sensitivity back to normal smartphone level. It was my biggest gripe. Meat Ninja says, for what it's worth, actually seems better on his. He was referring to touch sensitivity. Need more time to test. That was pretty much what I thought at first too. Seems better. Need more time. But that time has been taken, and it seems to be quite a bit better. And because if we go to another poll that I put out last night, this has 148 votes on Surface Duo 1. How would you rate your touch response? 1 being so bad I can't use it. 5 being as good as the best smartphones I've ever used. Well, people are sitting at about a 3. We'd like to see a 4 or a 5, right? But I think for a lot of people, I think a lot of people probably are in that 2-3 range. Well, now 3 and 4 is now leading. So I think that puts us at a place where touch response is absolutely usable. It's fine. You're going to be able to get by, and it's not going to drive you crazy at this point. It's not been all good, though. A handful of people have reported additional new bugs. So let's look here at Phoenix says, as of right now, it fixed a lot of bugs, but new ones are arising. So far, I believe Android 11 has helped Duo a lot, though. But he has seen some additional bugs. No detail on what exactly he meant, but there you go. Brian said Android Auto is now messed up. Displays black band over lower right where mic and notifications buttons are supposed to be. On plus side, transitions run smoother. So some Android Auto. Android Auto is in a problem for Duo from the beginning, so having some issues there. And then a lot of people are pretty mad that AT&T has not rolled their version out yet. This is not something that Microsoft can control. But there you go. It's worth noting. But still, all in all, I think Duo 1 has gotten considerably better with this Android 11 update. I think a lot of bug fixes have been rolled out. Now, do I think that it is in a place where it is the same as Duo 2 in terms of lack of bugs? No, I do not. In fact, I've seen some small bugs on my Duo 1 myself. Here's a picture that I took just the other day, put it in phone mode, and I lost all my icons on the bottom. And I want to tell you something, that's not happened on Duo 2. I don't think ever, maybe like once, but this was something I saw quite a bit on the original Duo, and unfortunately it's still happening. Maybe a launcher update can fix that or something, but definitely worth mentioning. I do also want to take a second and point out some noteworthy changes on Duo that I think are getting missed. So let's go overhead again here. And I'm seeing this one a lot. How do I take screenshots now? Well, before you would hold down the power button, a menu pop out, click screenshot, whatever, you're done. Now, you can take screenshots two different ways. One, by hitting power down in volume. That takes a screenshot. Of course, if you're in phone mode and you do it, it will take a screenshot of that single screen. I hit my power button and turned it off there. Let's turn that back on. But the other way that you can now take screenshots, which I think is much better and is really, really good, is to swipe up and hold, pick the app you want to screenshot, like let's do Twitter, and there is a screenshot button right there. Just simply click that and you've now screenshotted that one screen without having to fold it into phone mode to get there. How good is that? I also want to point out something that I talked about in a video the other day, that now in your camera app, before, when you would go to switch screens, let's say I want to take a picture of the world now, I would flip it around and it would switch. Now, you actually have to do the double tap to switch screens gesture to switch sides. And I think that's a good improvement. Hopefully that's something that's not just bugged out on my device. It doesn't work very well whenever you're pointing down, but when you're looking out like this, it does work pretty consistently. I think that's actually a really good change because it keeps that rotation from happening without basically a more direct input from yourself. And lastly, we've gained a bad behavior from Duo 2. So if we open up Twitter here, I will show you what I mean. If I open up a link in Twitter to a website on Duo before, it would open Edge on the open available screen. Now with Android 11, it's going to open it where it was last opened. That's dumb. You've got an open screen here. Should have opened it over here and left Twitter unoccluded. Now, let's close it, open it again, and we're over there because that's the last place that it was open. I have no idea why that's the behavior. It's stupid, and that's, to me, that's much worse. All in all, if you're looking to purchase a Surface Duo now, a lot of people ask me this question. Should I buy a Duo now? I can get one for $400 or $500 or sometimes cheaper than that. Should I buy it? I can't really answer that question because it's too complicated. There's too many variables. However, could I imagine a world right now wherein for $400-ish, Android 11 could be a phenomenally good secondary device or even a passable phone again at this point? Yes, I absolutely think that's possible. If you've been on the fence, if you've looked at Duo and you've thought maybe, well, now might be a good time to snag one for a really low price and probably going to have a halfway decent experience. Now, I think things have genuinely improved quite a lot. And I know this is already becoming a rather long video, but we now have Duo 2 to cover. We're going to move a bit more quickly through Duo 2, though, because there's not as much to go over, and we just need to wrap this thing up. So Duo 2 now has the ability for the pen to not just launch one app, but to double click and long click, like I mentioned earlier, to launch different apps that you assign. That's pretty cool. So you can do maybe a screenshot with one, launch OneNote with the other, and whatever you want to launch with the other one. That's pretty cool to have. I wish that the older pins didn't shut off after 15 seconds or whatever it is, and that they didn't take like 30 seconds to wake back up and reconnect to be usable again. But anyways, cool that they're adding more inking features. More of that is probably coming. We do also have the ability to use the apps in the Your Phone program. So when you launch the Your Phone thing, again, video is in the description for a demo of this, but you can launch, rather than just the screen capture, individual apps in their own window. That is pretty cool to have. We have the security bulletin. The camera has been improved in terms of night mode, 4K recording, and in terms of focus. And I showed that off as well. Basically, in low light before, the viewfinder was laggy and slow. That is pretty much addressed. Low light seems to be snappier and quicker. 4K recording is still not good. The stabilization is still really bad. Autofocus does seem to hunt for focus a bit less often in low light and in places where exposure is really unbalanced. So like You've got something that's white, that's blown out, and something that's dark behind it before it might focus hunt a bit. That seems to be pretty well taken care of. And I can give you an example of a photo that's a good example of this. So I took this photo the other day. This is in a sunroom in the house, and the lighting is really, really weird in here. So the aquarium is really bright down in there, and there's reflections off the glass, and then it's kind of dark out here, and my wife has like a purple light in there. Every camera we have, whether it's a Pixel or a Z Fold, everyone seems to be blurry and out of focus and smudgy in here. Well, Duo actually did okay. It's not like an unbelievably great picture, but it held focus, if this will load. And it did okay in there, and I don't think that's something that it would have done before. They've improved the reliability of third-party chargers, so if your device wasn't charging on a third-party charger, which you probably have because they didn't put a charger in the box, that might work better now. Improve reliability and stability, and then improves touch responsiveness. And that's probably the biggest thing for me, is the touch responsiveness. Oh my Lord, it's so good now for me. Probably when Duo 2 launched, it was probably about where Duo 1 is today. Then with the December update, it got to be for me like maybe like a 3.5 or a 4 out of 5, where you're like, man, you're close. You're right there. You're almost as good as a normal everyday like flagship. But now I would put it at a 5. I think it's as good as any phone I've used. I have no problem with touch response at all. Days on now. My swipe up to go home, I don't think I've missed a single swipe. It's been absolutely reliable, perfect, normal. Typing seems to be just totally fluid and normal. And if we jump into some more polling, you guys seem to be mostly on the same page as me. I asked if you've noticed improved touch response on Duo 2 after this January update, not July. And 62% of you said yes. And if I jump down to some comments here, Ballistic Coffee Boy said, I totally have. Everything feels more fluid. How I open the device to typing, utilizing both screens. What about Adam Bryant? Typing is so much better. I can't agree anymore. Thumb typing, which is not something I usually do. I usually either swipe type or I dictate, but I've done some thumb typing along the way to test this out, and it would miss some keys before. You know, you'd be typing and some weird stuff would happen. Seems to be pretty much gone now. Andy Dew said, yes, does missing spam apps actually work? Now, I haven't had any hangs, so if that's fixed, that'd be awesome. He said Instagram is working much better when you're swiping between posts with multiple photos. That seems to be working better for him as well. Don't know how to pronounce this name, but there you go. Great video as usual. I definitely noticed the improved touch immediately. It's far better now. A fantastic update, and honestly, it's pretty hard now to find something to complain about. Right there with you. Marquez Oliveira said typing is incredibly better now. I had phantom swipe actions while I was typing before. It would miss keys. Plain bad at typing. Now it types very well. I went and typed for a solid 10 minutes and it was really good. Didn't miss any keys. I'm with you. And one last bit of polling here. Surface Duo 2, the same thing as I did with Duo 1. How would you rate it 1 to 5? Well, now most of you are rating it at a 4, which puts it just below the best phones you've ever used. And I think that's at a pretty good place. I'd be in between that 4 and that 5. I'm kind of leaning towards a 5. I really feel like it's that much better. And I picked up my Z Fold and I played with it for a while. And I really can't see a difference between the two anymore. They behave pretty much the same now. So where does that leave Duo 2? I think that it leaves it at a place where it's behaving like a proper flagship should. Mine is effectively devoid of bugs. It does exactly what I expect it to do at this point. Typing is great. Touch response is fine. The camera is totally sufficient and is working better than it ever has before. I love my Duo 2. I think it's a great device right now. It's still a niche device, right? I'm still not going to go out and recommend that my mom buy one of these. She would hate it. My wife wouldn't like it either. It's still a niche device, right? It does not have broad appeal. I get that. I'm not telling you that it's the best phone available. It's just the best phone available for me, and that's why I bought it. And you should think about the same for yourself, right? That's how purchasing things work. But for me, and for those of you that might see yourself reflected in me, it might be a really good device for you. So I would encourage you to take a look. If you think you're interested, find a place that has a good return policy. Buy it, and if you hate it, return the thing, but you're not going to know until you get your hands on it. Affiliate links in the description down below if you do want to take up that offer. Guys, thanks for tuning into this special extra long news radar where we cover all the craziness of Surface Duo over the last week. Thanks for making it to the end of the video. I'll see you on the next one. And until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.